Hello, my name is Alicia Balderramos Peoples. I'm an educator with Ogle School at the Hearst campus. Thank you for joining me today. We will be discussing the 7 sculpting procedures. If you would like to follow along, this information can be located in 10.3, which is your sculpting skills. Okay, guys? All right, let's move forward. So the 7 sculpting procedures are section, head position, part, distribute, project, finger shear position, and design line. With this information, you will be able to create consistent and predictable results with your clients, and also you'll be able to identify the 7 sculpting procedures. And I'm also going to give you guys a few tips on some considerations to make while sculpting. Okay, guys? So let's get into it. Let's speak on section, which is the first of the 7 sculpting procedures. Sectioning helps you subdivide the hair into workable areas for control. The number of subsections and sectioning patterns you choose depends on the structure that you will be creating, okay? The most common is 4 sections, like Debbie here, okay? The way you determine these sections depend on the design line, your projection angles, and your distribution. Other things to consider are your client's natural hair growth patterns, which could be a widow's peak, a cowlick, or a whirl. And later on in this training, we'll discuss how to handle those situations. So we've already discussed the first sculpting procedure, which is section. Let's move on to the second sculpting procedure, which is head position, okay? There are 3 head positions for you to identify. The first is upright, the second is forward, and also there's tilted, which would be the head from one side or the other. Not trying to rough handle Debbie, okay? Upright is the most frequent head position used. When you tilt the head forward, it gives you slightly shorter lengths here at the nape, and you'll have longer hair at the surface, okay? The tilted head position is utilized for you to do the sideburns and also for you to do the edges. Okay, so we've discussed section, which is the first sculpting procedure, head position, which is the second. So now we're at part. Part is the third sculpting procedure. Parts are lines that subdivide sections of hair in order to separate, distribute, and control the hair while sculpting. The part used is generally parallel to the design line, and the size of the parting is determined by the density of the hair. There are horizontal lines, diagonal back, diagonal forward, vertical lines, concave, and convex lines. The celestial axis is a symbol used to identify straight and curved lines, directions, and projection angles. Okay, let's speak about distribution, which is the 4th sculpting procedure. Distribution is the direction the hair is being combed in relation to the base parting. There are 4 types of distribution: natural distribution, perpendicular distribution, shifted distribution, and directional distribution. Natural distribution is the direction the hair assumes as it falls naturally from the head due to gravity. Perpendicular distribution is when the hair is combed at a 90-degree or right angle from its base parting. Shifted distribution is when hair is combed out of its natural distribution in any direction except perpendicular to the base parting. And directional distribution is when hair is distributed straight up, straight out, or straight back from the head. So now we're on the fifth sculpting procedure, which is project. Projection, also known as elevation, is the angle at which the hair is held in relation to the curve of the head prior to and while sculpting, okay? Low projection is considered 0 degrees to 30 degrees. Medium projection is 30 degrees to 60 degrees. And high projection is 60 degrees to 90 degrees. Now we're at the sixth sculpting procedure, which is finger shear position. Finger shear position refers to the position of the fingers in the shears relative to the base parting. There are two types of finger shear position, which are parallel and non-parallel. A parallel finger position is when the fingers are positioned equal distance away from the parting while sculpting. Results are the purest reflection of the chosen line, which is also known as parallel sculpting. Non-parallel finger position is when the fingers are positioned unequally away from the parting while sculpting. This results in an exaggerated length increase. So now we're at the seventh sculpting procedure, which is design line. Your design line is your guide used while sculpting. There are two types of design lines. Stationary, where the design line is stable and all of the lengths are directed to that. Here. Or you can have a mobile design line, which is a movable guide that consists of small amounts of previously cut hair to add to be your lengths guide. So we've spoken of the 7 sculpting procedures, which are section, head position, part, distribute, projection, finger shear position, and design line. So now let's speak of some considerations. The last step of your sculpting procedures would be to cross-check. Cross-check is when you are checking for balance and accuracy. The way to cross-check is by using a line opposite of the original parting. So if the original parting is parallel to the floor, you would take a parting that's horizontal to check that section, okay? Moving forward, other considerations are, and we spoke of this earlier, your widow's peak, cowlick, and whorl. A widow's peak is a prominent hair growth pattern that forms at the front hairline. The way that you will sculpt this is by leaving the fringe area longer to avoid spiking, okay? A cowlick is a strong growth pattern that moves to the right or the left. You would sculpt this hair in the same direction of the hair growth. A whorl is a strong circular directional pattern on either side of the nape or crown. You would allow additional length in this area so that the hair will remain flat, or you would cut it shorter or closer to the scalp to avoid spike. Number 4 is distribution. Distribution is the direction that the hair is being combed in relation to the part. Number 5 is projection, also known as elevation. You can have low elevation, which would be 0 to 30 degrees, medium elevation, which would be 30 to 60 degrees, or high elevation, which would be 60 to 90 degrees. We spoke of finger shear position, which is the position of the fingers and shears relative to the base parting. There are two, which is parallel and non-parallel. We spoke of the design line, which is the lengths guide. It's the guide that's used to sculpt the haircut. There are two. You can have a stationary design line or a mobile design line. And then we went on to speak of tips and considerations. We spoke about cross-checking the hair, which is the final stage of sculpting, and we spoke about growth patterns, okay? I would like to thank you guys for being a part of this class, and I hope to see you guys soon. Again, my name is Alicia Balderramos Peoples, and thank you for enjoying the 7 sculpting procedures with me. See you later.